Good morning, dear students. How are you all? Have you all taken your breakfast today? Very good. Most of our food obtained from where? Good. From plants. In this session, we are going to learn about plants. Students, from our lower class onwards, we have learnt about parts of plants. Generally, what are the different parts of a plant? Very good. In a flowering plant, root, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits, seeds are the different parts of the plant. Among these, root, stem and leaves are called vegetative organs. What is meant by vegetative organs? That means they do not take part in sexual reproduction or they do not produce any sex cells. What are the other parts? Flowers, fruits and seeds. These are called reproductive organs. That means they take part in sexual reproduction and produces the next generation of the plants. Yes, children. Today we are going to learn about the topic reproduction in plants. The lesson name is reproduction and modification in plants. Look at these animals. Dogs give birth to puppies. Cat gives birth to kittens. Sheep give birth to lamb. All these represents what? All the living things in the world produce young ones of their same kind to maintain their species in this planet. Likewise, plants also produce their young ones. In this topic, we are going to learn about plant reproduction and their kinds. Students, what is meant by reproduction? The process by which plants and animals produce young ones and increase the number is known as reproduction. In plants, all the plants do not reproduce the same way. Some plants reproduce through seeds. Some plants reproduce from their vegetative parts like stem, leaf, root, etc. For example, drumstick tree. It can be grown from both seeds and stem cuttings. So, reproduction is of two types, sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. When plants reproduce from seeds, we call that process as sexual reproduction. All the other way of reproduction without seeds is called asexual reproduction. First, we are going to learn about sexual reproduction. What is meant by sexual reproduction? Yes, reproduction through seeds is called sexual reproduction. Where do you find seeds? Yes, inside the fruits. How the fruit is developed? Fruit is developed from the flowers. Do you know how the fruit is developed from a flower? What are the processes involved? Remember in your 5th standard class, you acquired the knowledge about plant reproduction. Yes, there are two processes involved in the fruit formation. They are pollination and fertilization. To understand how fruits and seeds formed in a flower, first we need to understand the parts of a flower. In a typical flower, there are 4 whorls or rings. They are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx. Look at this flower. We can see a green color leaf-like structure. It covers the whole bud or flower. Each of this leaf-like structure is called sepals. The outermost ring of sepals is called calyx, or collectively the sepals are called calyx. What is the function of the calyx? It protects the flower in bud and also it supports for the petals when bloom. Look at this picture, the brightly colored part. It is called a petal. Petals are the largest part of the flower. Petals are attractive, brightly colored, sometimes sweet scented to attract the insects. The ring of petals together is called a corolla. What is the function? The function is it helps in pollination. See the picture. Next to the corolla, long tube-like structure are seen. This is called a stamen. A ring or whorl of stamens is called androecium. Androecium is the third ring of the flower. Androecium is the male reproductive organ of the flower. Look at the structure of the stamen. Each stamen consists of two parts, a stalk called filament, a lobe called anther. If you touch these lobes in a mature flower, we can get a powdery substance called pollen grains. Pollen grains are the male reproductive part, which produce the male gametes. And next to the androecium, we can see the female reproductive part of the flower. This is called a gynoecium. It is the fourth whorl of the flower. The gynoecium consists of three parts, ovary, style and stigma. The swollen bottom part is called ovary. Inside the ovary, ovules are present. The ovules contain egg cells. This is the female gamete. After fertilization, the ovules become seeds. On the top of the ovary, there is a slender tube-like structure called a style. On the top of the style, the sticky tip is called a stigma is present. The pollen grains are received by the stigma. What are the three parts of the gynoecium? Ovary, style and stigma. A small recap for the parts of the flower. A typical flower consists of four parts: calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower. It is made up of sepals. Corolla is the second whorl of the flower. It is made up of petals. It is brightly colored. And the androecium is the third whorl of the flower. It is the male reproductive structure of the flower. It is made up of stamens. Each stamen consists of two parts, the filament and the anther. The anther contains pollen grains. The pollen grains produce the male gametes. And the innermost whorl, fourth whorl, is known as gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower. Gynoecium is also made up of three parts, the ovary, style and the stigma. Ovary contains ovules. Ovules contains egg cells. Egg cells are the female gametes. Based on the presence or absence of rings or whorls, we can classify flowers into two types. They are complete flower and incomplete flower. If all the four whorls, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium are present, it is called a complete flower or bisexual flower because both male and female reproductive structures are present in the same flower. If any one of these four whorls is missing, it is called incomplete flower. Incomplete flowers are unisexual flowers. There are two types of unisexual flowers. They are male flower and female flower. Flowers with androecium and without gynoecium is called male flower. Flowers with gynoecium and without androecium is called a female flower. So they are known as unisexual flowers. Students, do you know what is inflorescence? A group of flowers arranged together is called inflorescence. The sunflower is not a single flower. It is a group of flowers clustered together. So it is one of the example for inflorescence. Tridus procumbens looks like a single flower, but it is an inflorescence. Leaf juice of this plant is used to cure wounds and cuts. Now let us going to learn about how fruit is developed in a flower. In flowering plants, the fruit development involves two processes. They are pollination and fertilization. In your previous classes, you have learned about what is pollination and what is fertilization. What is pollination? The process by which pollen grains reach stigma is called pollination. What is a pollen grain? Pollen grain is the male reproductive part of the plant. What is stigma? Stigma is the sticky tip of the carpel. What is meant by fertilization? The fusion of male gamete with the female gamete to form the zygote is known as fertilization. Now let us learn about the first step of fruit formation, the pollination. What is pollination? The process by which pollen grains reach stigma is called pollination. The flowers that receive pollen grains is called pollinated flowers. The flowers that did not receive the pollen grains is called unpollinated flowers. The process of pollination is of two types. They are self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now we will see what is self-pollination. We know that some flowers are known as bisexual flowers. That means both male and female reproductive organs are present in the same flower. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant is called a self-pollination. That means if we shake the flower or when a butterfly shake the flower, the pollen grains could fall onto the stigma of the same flower. If the pollination takes place by this means, it is called self-pollination. Example, beans, tomato and paddy. Beans and tomato, the self-pollination with the help of insects. In paddy, gentle wind helps in self-pollination. Now let us see what is cross-pollination. Pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same kind or species is known as cross-pollination. In order to bring about cross-pollination, it is necessary that the pollen should be carried from one flower to another of a different plant. This takes place through some animals, insects, wind and water. These are called pollinating agents or pollinators. Bees, butterflies and variety of birds hover around flowers. They help to carry pollen from one flower to another. Pollen grains stick to their legs, wings or abdomen when they move from flower to flower. This is called cross-pollination. Example, in plants like grass, the pollen grains are light. So, pollen grains are carried by wind from one flower to another flower. We know that pumpkin produces unisexual flowers. Male and female flowers are separate. So, cross-pollination with the help of insects takes place. In some plants, gynoecium matures before androecium shed pollens. So, cross-pollination takes place. Example, apple, plums, strawberry. Here is the difference between self-pollination and cross-pollination. In self-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or to another flower of the same plant. In cross-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same kind or different plant. In self-pollination, plants do not need to produce pollen grains in a larger quantity because here the pollination is ensured. But in cross-pollination, plants need to produce pollen grains in a larger quantity to increase the chance of pollination, because the wastage of pollen grains may take place in cross-pollination. In self-pollination, the plants does not produce changes in the characteristics of new plants because the genetic material is same, because the pollination takes place in the same plant. But in cross-pollination does introduce the variation in the characteristics of the new plants because the combination of new genes is available in this type of pollination. So, new varieties of plants can develop. Now, the second step of fruit formation is fertilization. Through pollination, the pollen grains reach the stigma of the flower. What happens next? The second process is called fertilization. Substances produced on the stigma causes the pollen grains to germinate. During germination, a tube develops from the pollen grain. This tube is called pollen tube. This pollen tube carry the male gametes. Pollen tubes grows through the style of the gynoecium and reaches into the ovary. Inside the ovary, small round structures are present called ovules. Inside the ovules, the female gamete or egg cell is present. The pollen tube reaches into the ovary and finally into the ovule. The tip of the tube bursts open and releases the male gametes. Now, the male gamete fuses with the female gamete to form the zygote. This process is known as fertilization. The zygote will develop into embryo. Students, look at these fruits. You can see some green part above brinjal and lady's finger. What are they? Compare mango, custard apple and peas. All these are single fruits, but custard apple has many small parts in it, each with a seed. Mango has a single seed and pea has many seeds. What do you understand from the above observation? A green part above fruit of brinjal and lady's finger are sepals of the flower. In some fruits, after fertilization, sepals will not fall from the fruit and remain or persistent with the fruit. Look at the custard apple. It is made up of many fruits aggregated together. Each fruit part is thin, membranous with some granules like which is edible. See the mango. Outer skin and middle pulpy are edible and sweet. Innermost is with a single seed. Look at the pea. Fruit is not fleshy but forms a covering pouch for many seeds. From all these fruits, ovary, a lowermost swollen part of the pistil, develops into a fleshy fruit. Ovules present inside the ovary gets transformed into a seed. From these observations, we can say what are the changes takes place in a flower after fertilization. These changes are called post-fertilization changes. See the list now. Calyx sometimes persist with the fruit. Petals wither or fall off. Androecium fall off. Pistil remain and develops into a fruit. Style and stigma fall off. Ovary enlarges to store food material and develop into a fruit. Ovules present inside the ovary develops into seeds. Children, do you know which is the largest seed in the world? The world's largest and heaviest seed is the double coconut. The seed looks like two coconuts fused together. It only grows in two islands of the Seychelles. A single seed may be 12 inches long, nearly 3 feet in circumference, and weighs about 18 kg. Orchids have the smallest seeds in the plant kingdom. 35 million seeds may weigh only about 25 gram. In a flowering plant, flowers are the reproductive organs. They produce fruits and seeds through pollination and fertilization. The male reproductive organ of a flower is androecium and the female reproductive organ of a flower is gynoecium. Transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma is called pollination. There are two types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Agents like wind, water, insects and animals are helpful for pollination and are known as pollinators. After pollination, the fusion of male and the female gametes takes place. It is called fertilization. After fertilization, ovary becomes the fruit and ovules becomes the seed. Students, what are the types of reproduction? Sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction means through the seeds. Asexual reproduction means without seeds. The asexual reproduction is the production of new plants without the involvement of pollination and fertilization. There are different types of asexual reproduction. They are vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation, and spore formation. Now let us see what is vegetative propagation. Vegetative part of the plants such as root, stem and leaves can help to propagate the plant. Propagate means reproduction of the plant. Example, potato. In potato, shoot arise from the eyes. Potato eyes means nothing but each potato has several buds. These are the small sprouts. We call potato eyes. From these buds, the new potato plant can grow. Yam is also example for the stem tuber that is also developed like potato. Sugarcane is developed from the stem cuttings. Now let us see budding. What is budding? Budding is a type of asexual reproduction. When we go to a bakery, we see so many types of cakes and breads. These are very soft in nature. This is due to the presence of yeast. What is yeast? Yeast is a unicellular microscopic fungi. It is a type of plant. This is yeast is used to make cakes and breads. Do you know how these yeast are reproducing? It reproduces by means of budding. A small bulb-like projections coming out from the yeast cell is called bud, which gradually grows and detaches from the parent cell and act as a new individual. This process is called budding. And the next is fragmentation. In a pond, we see so many algae. Spirogyra is a filamentous alga. When it matures, the filament divides into pieces. Each fragment or piece of a filament will grow into a new filament or individual. Likewise, Spirogyra produces so many young ones, and this process is known as fragmentation. And the next type of asexual reproduction is spore formation. What do you mean by unfavorable conditions? Scarcity of water, high temperature, nutrition deficiency in soil, etc. are unfavorable conditions. During these conditions, non-flowering plants like algae, fungi, moss and ferns produce spores. What is meant by spores? Spores are the reproductive cells. They are capable of developing into a new individual without fusion of another reproductive cell. Or we can say spores are the agents of asexual reproduction. These spores germinate into a new plant when favorable conditions are returns. Students, today you have learnt about the parts of a flower, what are the different types of reproduction in plants, what is sexual reproduction, what are the steps involved in sexual reproduction, what is asexual reproduction and its types. Next class we will continue with the modification in plants. Thank you. Have a nice day.